Alrighty then. Configuring switch interfaces, but much more than just that. Okay? I just had to give it a name. So we're gonna go ahead and manipulate the interfaces. First of all, you've already seen me use the range command. You see me doing VLANs and stuff, but I'll show you the range command just to show you. And then I told you this already, that you can shut down a command. Why? Because you're using port security, or you really, Cisco states that if you're not using certain ports, those ports should be shut down. You should go into those ports using the range command and say, well, they're not being used. We're going to go ahead and shut them down. That way nobody can plug into your network and try and get in, try to hack in. So that's good advice, all right? But definitely that happens also when people are trying to hack you, all right, within your company, and they're plugging in their own laptop that they shouldn't be. And we have port security on, and one of the violations is to shut down a port. Once we find that out, then we need to restart it. And then we're going to go ahead and do AAA authentication, which I took off from the router, but we'll do it on the router, not on the switch. We'll do AAA authentication and have the notepad file there. You'll get all this information. And the server, it's very easy to configure. It's very simple. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the lab that we've been doing all this time. All right, and we'll configure. That's what it's all about. Configure, 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 configure. All right, so what are we configuring? Oh yeah, the range and the shutdown thing. Okay, and then port security. All right, let's see how I'm going to do this. All right, since you already know about spanning tree, let's go ahead and make this. Let's do this. Ta-da! Let's make this port 23 to port 23. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it turns this somebody into. Maybe this will stay as a root bridge. I don't know, but we're gonna make it a root bridge anyway, so we're not even gonna waste time. So we're gonna go inside this switch, and we got VLAN. Oh, username I forgot. LDs, and then Cisco. All right, enable config T. Config T. Okay. Then we go spanning tree, VLAN 1, comma 10, because it is 10, comma 20. And then priority, we already know that we're going to put 0. You saw that in the previous lecture. All right. That turns it into the main switch, DWR. Okay. Now, you do want to turn off spanning tree in certain ports. I'm going to show you how to do that, and we're going to do it on this. And there you can do the range command as well. All right, so I'm going to go onto this switch right here, switch 1. All right, bring that up, bring this down, CLI, la la la. All right, enable. Let's just call it switch 1, like that's the way it is. So host name, SW1. All right, so we're going to do int range F0/1-15. Okay, so that's your range command. There you go. Whoopee. All right, spanning tree. All right, and we're going to do port fast. All right, and what that does, it says, oh my God, what are you doing? You're turning on spanning tree. We're going to get switching loops. No, we send a memo out. We send an email out. All right, but just in case that one individual didn't get a memo and tries to plug in an internet networking device to that, we're going to protect against that, okay? We're going to say spanning tree, Bpdu guard, enable. So we're going to put a guard there that's going to guard against bridge protocol data units, that if he sees one coming in, he's going to say, aha, and prevent it, and it'll shut down the port. So we're going to do that. All right. And since we're here now, we're going to do switch port security. So we're in the range that we want to be. So switch port security is pretty easy to do. All right. So we're going to do, first you got to turn it on. Am I spelling switch correctly? Switch port security. That turns it on and says, hey, Everything's dynamic. I can't do that. Oh, okay. So then we're going to do switch port mode access. Now we do switch port security. Look at that. Okay, we're going to up arrow and we're going to do Mac. We can do it statically or we do sticky. What is sticky? Oh, I spelled it wrong. Sticky. It means it learns it dynamically, but then when you look at the MAC address table, it's going to say it's static. Okay, so it's like stuck right to the port. Okay, that's what that means. Then I'm only going to allow, because I am a ruthless administrator, maximum of only one MAC address. I don't care. Only one computer, the one I gave you, and that's the only one you're using. Okay, and then I'm going to go up there, and like I say, I'm ruthless. So I'm going to go vial, and then I'm going to say shut. Meaning it's going to get shut down. It's going to get shut down. All right, if you do anything different, do WR. So let's find out. Let's take a look. Let's do some show commands. Let's show MAC. Oh, really? Address. I love tabbing. Here we go. And there, oh, I got one MAC address that I learned dynamically. Okay. And it's probably the PC. Okay. So it's on one, it's on port 24. It's actually the other switch. Okay. So it hasn't learned any of these down here. So let's go ahead. Well, first, let's take a look at show port security. And we're going to go ahead and bring it to where you can understand it. And then you can see there that on all these ports, obviously it goes to 15. Okay, we can only learn one MAC address. So far it hasn't learned any. There's no counts, no violations, and the security is to shut down that port. That is what's going to happen. Okay, no, so let's see if that's true. Let's minimize this. Let me ping my server. And I'm going to bring this over here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to ping my server. I'm going to ping 172.31.10.34. Okay, so I'm pinging my server and I'm getting a reply. So the MAC address table, CAM table, should have been populated now. Show MAC address table. Hey, there we go. Look, static, static. There's my sticky going at work. Static, static. All right, but I learned it dynamically. All right, but it looks like it's on static. So now I'm going to be a hacker. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak in here. All right, I'm going to unplug this computer because I don't care what LAS says. I'm bringing my laptop from home that my kid uses and goes to websites that they don't need to be going to. Right? We all know that, don't we? And I'm going to plug it in to port 1. That's where it was. And then, all right, it's layer 2, but I'm going to put an IP address on there. Desktop. I'm going to, because I even spoofed this IP address and everything. I'm that good. 172.31. Well, it's me anyway. Dot 10. What was it? So first available, right? Yeah, 33. 33. And then just tab over 255.255.255.224. We have it at 27. Our default gateway 172.31.10.32. 63 is broadcast, 62 is the gateway. Right? Last available. Look how simple that is. We're not even going to put DNS server. We're not worried about that. Look what just happened. It turned red. The port turned red. Oh my God. What is that? I just got a flag. I got beeped. I'm getting calls from the help center and everything. Look, it said fast Ethernet 1, change state to down. Emergency. Let's look at show port security. Show port security said, oh, I only allowed one. I knew one. And all of a sudden, here comes another one. There's been one violation. Shut it down. All right, let's take a look at the port. Show interface F0, what was it? F01, right? Yeah, F0/1. And what does it say? Error disable. Error disable. Okay, so that's what port security does. All right. So what we're gonna do is, now the administrator found out, you got a slap in the hand, you got written up, you got fired, I don't know, wherever you work. You come back, you put the right PC in the right port, All right, put it in there. It should have all the information. Let me close this. All the information should still be there, but that port is still shut down. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go inside that port. Control C. I can't see. C. Config T. You guys with me, right? You guys with me? All right, I'm going to go interface F0/1. I'm going to do a no shut. Okay, I'll do a shut. Then I'll do a no shut. There we go. Now I turned it to up. Now you see it's green again. Now we'll be able to ping my server. You see that? Let me put it this way because I know I'm probably in the way, as usual. All right, but there you go. That's all there's to it. That's all there is to port security. Now, we did a little bit more than port security. We actually did spanning tree. All right, we actually did spanning tree, but we don't need this anymore. We saw that, we replied. We actually made this the root bridge. We made this the root bridge, okay, by doing that command. All right, and we turned off spanning tree in ports 1 through 15. We protected against anybody putting another switch or internet working device by putting spanning tree Bpdu enable, Bpdu guard enable. And then I showed you, and then we did port security. I allowed one MAC address. At first I turned it on. Then I allowed, it was sticky, so it learns it dynamically, but it puts it on static in the MAC address table. You saw it. Then I said only one MAC address because I'm ruthless. And then I said, well, you know what? If he changes it, shut it down. Boom. And that's exactly what it did. Okay. So that's all there's to it. That's how simple it is. Okay. But you got to practice and practice and practice. Again, I already know this like the back of my head. That's why I can do it quickly. But you take your time and you see what goes on. All right. Because we still got this side that we need to configure as well. I'll probably leave that up to you. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Wait a minute. We can't go yet. I can't see you in the next. We got to do AAA authentication using the Radius server. I'll see you in the lab. All right, so here we go. We're in our lab. We're going to go ahead and configure this AAA server for Radius. All right, and I have the commands here on the left, so you can have them there, and you can see them on your lab, so you can go ahead and jot them down. All right, so you can have them. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our router and what type of securities have now. Let's exit our router, as a matter of fact, and let's see what type of security are we using. So we hit enter, and password is Cisco, enable, and then is student. So that's our basic privilege mode passwords, And if we were to telnet, or not telnet, SSH, because that's what we configured for the line BTY lines, we would, let's get rid of all this gibberish here. We would go ahead and do SSH -L for list, -L, LD is, and then the IP address, which I have jotted down right there, 31.20.94. That is, it's going to ask me for a password, and the password is going to be Cisco. It should be Cisco, CISCO. No, students. I forgot the password that we normally use for LD is whatever. So we're going to create it anyway. So sometimes, and just to give you a little trick, if you forget the password to get into the router, if you click on the router and you don't know the password, let's say, to get in, you can always go to the config tab, click on any of the interfaces, right? See how it takes you into an interface, and then go back to the CLI, and there you are. You're inside the router, okay? So no big deal. No big deal. All right, so let's stay in global configuration because that's where we need to be. The router already has a host name. So let's go ahead and start configuring Radius right here on this particular router for authentication, for us to be able to get in the router using a default list from the Radius server. So the first thing we do is do AAA new model. Let's tab that out. And then we're going to do Radius server. There you go. You can tab it out. That's typing. Now this is the IP address of the client, which is the Radius server, 20.66, and we're going to share a secret key between each other, and it's going to be possible. That's going to be the key. So we got Radius server, the host, which is the Radius server itself, and then the key that we're sharing between each other, or that we will share. Let's go ahead and do a username LDs, privilege, I'm going to tab that out. 15, administrative rights. Password Cisco. Okay. And then we're going to do AAA, authentication, and then login, default group radius, which means I'm going to use the default list that exists on the radius. Now we're going to go into our lines and tell it to use the authentication default list. So we're going to go to our line con 0. We're going to do login, authentication, default. Yes, I'm tabbing my way through. And then we're going to go to line VTY 0 space 4, which is the default lines, and we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to up arrow and do that. So we're going to go ahead and copy that. All right, so we got that done. And you can always verify just doing a regular start. There's not a major. There's our enable secret, enable password. There's our authentication login default group. There's our username and password, which is authenticated by service password encryption. If you keep going down, there's a radius host server, right? And it puts in the authentication port. We never did that, which is 1645, and then the secret key. And then we can see that in our line con 0, we have login authentication default, and we also have it in the line BTY 0 through 4. But notice that we're using SSH only, okay? So we got the router done. Let's go to the AAA server. So what we do is, just move it over here, and we go into services, and we go to AAA. So let's get rid of what we have, so we can just do everything from scratch. So you can see how it's done. So who is the client? Well, the client is R1, right? Well, what's the client's IP address? The client's IP address is the router, 172.31, or my gateway, 20.94, okay? And what is the secret password that we're sharing? Well, we're sharing possible, right? Because that's the one we created up on the router. And then we just simply click add. So now we have our client R1 with the IP address is a radius, and the secret key is possible. So let's go ahead and put a username and password. LDs, and we're not going to put Cisco. We're not, because we told the router to use the default list within the radius server. So TARAWA. We're going to use that password. All right, and let's click add, and that's there. So it should work. So let's find out. Let's go to the desktop. Let's try, and again, let's get rid of gibberish. SSH -L, LDs, and the IP address, 172.31.20.94. So it's going to ask me for a password. Before, I put in Cisco, CISCO, enter. Login invalid. Oh, I know, it's student, STUDENT. Invalid. TARAWA. Now I'm in. Now we can do the simple passwords are there, Cisco. Oh, I mistyped something. CISCO. Oh, all right, let's try it again. CISCO. Really is not letting me in. I know that I always do that. Okay, what have you. But you can see that I had to type in Tarawa to get to it. Now, let's check the console. All right, and we can always change the passwords for the secret and what have you. I must have put in something different. I don't know why that is. All right, so let's exit out of our router. And now username, LDs. And remember, we also told, as you can see there on the left, to use the authentication default for the console port. All right, so let's type in Cisco. Nope. LDs. Tarawa. TARAWA. Enter. All right. Enable. Cisco. Ain't that something? Students. Oh, it is students. Duh. Okay. But as you can see, that it is not accepting the and do show start. If you remember, we put this was Cisco. It's encrypted now with a #7, but this was Cisco. It's not accepting that because I didn't tell my telnet lines or my console lines to use login local. I told it to use login authentication default, which looks at the Radius server list. And what is that list? The list that I decide to create here. Again, let's move to one side, right here. This particular list. So I have my users that I allow to get in, and that's another way that we can use authentication on the Radius server. But you know what? I'm just not. Let's test it from the PC itself, right? Because I think we use the server to do that. All right. So again, let's get rid of gibberish. SSH -L. LBs, one more thing, just one more time, just to make sure that everything's working good to go. 20.94, not 91. Why would I do that? Okay. Up arrow, 94. Okay. Password again, Cisco. Nope. Tarawa, T-A-R-A-W-A. Perfect. Enable, and then student, not Cisco. And now we're inside the router. So that is your AAA authentication, or using a Radius server to authenticate users to be able to log in to your router. See you later. Well, that wasn't so bad. We got to do AAA authentication. Now we can go to the next.